What is going on, everybody? We are live, live, live. Welcome, welcome. Welcome in. Can't even see that over there. And maybe if I put this over there. All right. I think that looks good. There we go. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? We are live, live, live. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's doing well. We are doing a Q&A. Anything and everything occult, esoteric, or mystical. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, and I will do my best to answer. What's going on? What's up? Welcome in. Welcome in. Excuse me. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Datum. What does datum mean? I don't know what datum means. Datum? Datum? I don't know what that means. Does Jesus love me? I don't know. You gotta ask Jesus. Why would you think an occultist would know if Jesus loves you? You gotta talk to Jesus. Datum in Netherlands. Oh, so you're in the Netherlands? You're out there over there in the Netherlands? I used to bank with ING, International Nederlanden Groep, or however you say it. I used to bank with ING. Now they're Capital One. So now I'm banking with Capital One. Do you have techniques on how to stop the chatter while meditating? Not really. I don't really have any issues with chatter or anything like that. But I was always taught meditation is not about clearing the mind. It's more about focusing on one specific thing. So maybe instead of trying to clear your mind, try to do that. Try to think on one specific thing, whether it's a sigil or a planet or an element or whatever. Try to focus on one specific thing rather than nothing. I am Dutch. Nice. Rabobank. I've never heard of Rabobank. Regio Bank or Regio Bank. Huh. Of Revolut. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, they were just ING in the United States, and then they were brought out by Capital One like almost 10 years ago. So I've been banking with Capital One ever since. All right, sorry about that. Okay. How do you feel about closed practices? It depends on the specific practice, right? Some practices are said to be closed and they're not actually closed, whereas other practices are definitely closed and people try to find back doors in them all the time. So it depends on what tradition or practice specifically you are talking about. So when it comes to things like the ATRs, the ADRs, I do believe that those are closed. But then when it comes to certain like chaosophic practices or like Mark Allen Smith's primal craft and stuff like that, I don't think that those things are necessarily closed. I would say that they're more private, right? Whereas the closed systems require licencia, the private ones you just have to know someone who's already involved, and then they can, sort of let you in. So, for example, I'm sure Mark Allen Smith would prefer his methods to not get out to people who didn't buy his books, but there's no detriment to you or your practice if you somehow stumble upon Mark Allen Smith's first and second initiatic rituals and things like that, right? Whereas in voodoo or in Kimbanda or in 21 Division or something like that, stumbling upon their closed rituals and trying to perform them would bring about detrimental results. So it would depend on the specific practice or the specific tradition that you're talking about. So some of them are certainly closed, but some of them are not. Lat-ing Danar? I don't know what that is. I don't speak Dutch. I don't know what that means. Peace, brother. Hey, what's up? Adua. Or maybe a deity. What do you? For what to focus on? Yeah, that's fine. Spirits are fine. Lilith Hecate fun. What are you referencing there, Weird Toe Guy? What are you referencing there? We didn't mention Lilith or Hecate or anything like that. So what are you referencing when you say Lilith Hecate fun? What is that a reference to? Hey, Benji, what's up? Michael, my dad's real name. That's cool. Tom is mine. All right, that's awesome. Does dreaming about spirits mean you've met them on that plane? Not necessarily. It can, but you don't always just want to jump to that conclusion. Dreams don't always have to have any kind of spiritual meaning to them. They could be completely mundane and not mean anything, right? If you happen to, have read some articles on a spirit or a deity, or you read a couple books recently, or you watched a documentary, or you watched a movie or a TV show, and that deity or that spirit was mentioned, it could come up in your subconscious during dream time. Not everything in the dream world has to be something spiritual. So in order to verify and validate, which is what you want to focus on, the verification of anything that comes in your dreams, you would want to do a divination. So you can do a divination or get one done if you aren't proficient at it yourself. Get a divination done and see if whatever spirit you had a dream about is trying to reach out to you or anything along those lines. ATM. So Weird Toe Guy, I'm not sure if maybe there's a language barrier. I don't know what the things that you're just randomly putting in the chat are not in any way a reference to anything I'm saying or anyone else in the chat is saying. It's almost like you're just having a conversation with yourself. So I'm not trying to be mean or rude, but what are you talking about? You're just saying random Dutch things and things in English that have no reference to anything I'm saying or anyone else in the chat is saying. So what do you mean? What is ATM? Why are you telling us your real name? Why are you telling us your dad's name? What is with Lilith and Hecate fun? I'm not trying to be mean, but these are just random things that you're just putting in the chat, and I don't understand why. Do you believe there is an ultimate God source? Of course. I'm a Hermeticist, so of course we certainly believe in God, the monad. Hello, Rebel. Hey, Julie. What's up? Glad to have you. That is a very good answer. Some people believe they should be closed on race, but I think so the race thing, you tend to only find that in the African American community. You generally don't find that in, Latin communities and things like that. And then even when you get down into the specific traditions within the ATRs, you find that not every initiate is a minority. There are plenty of white people who are initiated into various ATRs and ADRs. There are plenty of black people that are part of Western occultism and European systems. There are plenty of Asian people that are part of South American systems. It's up to the spirits. It's not up to your skin color or your blood. This whole bloodline thing, that's a conspiracy. That plays no part in any legitimate occultism. As long as the spirits accept you, then you're good. Now, the bad part about that is that you just can't determine if the spirits accept you. You do have to go get a reading from an initiate. And if they don't like you, if they don't want you in, they could lie. They could say, oh, yeah, nope, the spirit said no. Sorry, you can't join. So you do have to deal with that, right? You can't just say, no, the spirits did say that I can come in because they came to me in my dreams. If you're not part of it, they wouldn't come to you in your dreams. So you would still have to go get a reading from a human who's part of it. And if they don't like you because you're not part of the race or whatever, then that could be, a downside. But ultimately, it's up to the spirits to make a determination on whether or not you are able to join a specific system or tradition. So they are closed only by initiation, not closed by race, not closed by blood or DNA or anything along those lines. That's all conspiracy nonsense. What's up? Hey, Amun. What's going on? How are you? If you are taught and initiated correctly, that's what matters. Yes, correct. As long as the spirits accept you. As long as the spirits accept you. Hey, what's up, Liz? What's up, Liz Postal? He's a bot. Who's a bot? Oh, the Dutch guy, weird toe guy. I don't know. He was answering my questions earlier, and he was answering them accurately. So I mean, if he's a bot, he's a pretty intelligent one. If you did an initiation but don't feel any different at all, do you do it over or try another one? So when you say did you do you did it yourself, or did someone else do it? Are you able to elaborate on that? The way this reads, it sounds like you did it yourself, which I don't think I'd be the best person to give you advice on that. I was brought in by a coven, so I had a high priestess initiate me. I didn't bring myself in. I don't want to offend any or upset anybody, but I don't believe that you can bring yourself into the occult. As above, so below, just like you can't just walk into a company and go, I work here now. I interviewed myself. I gave myself a background check. I work here now. Give me all the access to all your records and all, I want key cards. That you can't do that. You got to go through the initiation. You got to go through the job interview. You got to talk to the manager and the district manager and the regional manager. And you got to do the background check. You can't just declare yourself part of something, right? So as above, so below. As it happens in the spirit realm, so shall it happen on earth. I don't believe that you can bring yourself into anything, at least any legitimate traditional systems. Maybe if it's like a modern chaosophic system, or if you're just like not really initiating, but you're dedicating yourself to the practice of magic or something like that in a generic way, that might be okay. But to say that or to try to perform a ritual to bring yourself into, I don't know, British traditional witchcraft, I don't know. I think you'd have to go talk to like the Andrew Chumbleys of the world, the Nigel Jacksons. I think someone would have to, from within, would have to bring you in. But if you can elaborate on that, on what you mean, maybe I can give you a better answer. Agreed. It's up to the spirits. Yes, indeed. How accurate to the grimoire text does the Trimethian evocation have to be? What do you mean by that? The Trithemian evocation method is from the grimoires. It's from Trithemius himself. So the Trithemian method is written by Trithemian in his Art of Drawing Spirits into Crystals, right here, written by himself. So it wouldn't. It's part of grimoire tradition. It wouldn't detract. do you mean like the Rufus Opus method, which is a modern reinterpretation of the Trithemius method? Is that what you mean? Because Trithemius' method itself is strictly Grimtrad. But do you mean a modern take on Trithemius like Rufus Opus? Something that we see in like this, the modern Angelic Grimoire, or the modern Goetia Grimoire? Is this what you mean? Because Trithemius is strictly Grimtrad, 100%. So, can this god be worked with, reached like the pagan gods and other entities, or is he off limits? He's off limits. In Hermeticism, we agree with the orthodox position of the essence and the energy distinction. We believe that the essence, or the true essence of God, cannot be known by humanity. He is far removed from his creation. He exists outside of space and time while he is immanent, not eminent, immanent. While he is immanent, he does exist outside of space and time. And so therefore we can never truly know God in his essence or contact God, which is why, generic prayer doesn't work. That's why, like you can pray all day for grandma to get healed, but she might get sick and die, because, God is far removed and doesn't hear anything. But then you have the energies, right? So there's the essence and the energies distinction. So while we can't know God through his essence, we can know him through his energeia, his energies. And in Hermeticism, we believe that those energies are the creations. So the little g gods, these are the planetary deities or the planetary angels. These are the zodiacal spirits. These are the spherical spirits. These are the, planetary intelligences. These are the elemental spirits, the genius loci. So through those beings, we can know God. But that's only a modicum. Unfortunately, we have to wait until we are no longer in the flesh in order to fully experience God. And even then, it's not a guarantee. But yeah, he's pretty much off limits. He's so far removed from his creation. Keep up the good work. I know my short comments aren't understood sometimes because they're too long. Oh no, that's okay. No worries. Can we just do our own journey then? What do you mean, can you do your own journey? What do you mean? People sometimes can't read them because they don't match them like you with the others. Interesting. I don't think I follow there. I'm not sure I follow what you're saying. But it sounds like it's a good thing, so that's good. But I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure I follow there. It was a group initiation. Interesting. Okay, but nothing felt different. How many? That's not necessarily a bad. There are some ATRs and ADRs will do group initiations. But how big was the group? If it's like 30 people, that's a little wild. 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Okay. 12 people might be a little, I don't know. So, just came in. What initiation? We're not talking about any specific initiation. We're just talking about into the occult in general. How do you get initiated, or what do you need to get initiated? You need to find a coven, a temple, a order, a grove, a societe, whatever the tradition or system that you're trying to get into calls their groups. That's what you would need to find if you're trying to get licensed with the spirits, not licensed like through your state board or anything like that. But like through the spirits to receive licencia, initiation. You would find a group. So for witches, it would be a coven. For Voodoo, it would be like a societe or a temple, things like that. Druids would be groves. Interesting. Yes, very interesting. Yes, would that be okay? If you mean the Rufus Opus thing, would that be okay? Yes. This is the exact method that I use. I use the Rufus Opus method outlined here in Modern Angelic Grimoire. So, yes. It's fine. There is so much to learn. There is so much to learn, and you will be forever learning. There's never going to be a time when unless you just give up and quit, where you're not going to be learning. I learn new things every single day about the systems and traditions that I've been practicing for 10, 15, going on 20 years. I still learn new things every single day. Based on your beliefs, what do you think Orthodox Christianity gets right? Well, I'm not an expert on Orthodox Christianity. I only know them from the similarities between Hermeticism. So I obviously think that they get the essence and the energy distinction right. I think that they get the Trinity right, and Hermes Trismegistus does talk about the Trinity. Actually, Athanasius and Gregory of Nyssa both, it was Athanasius, it was Greg, and actually, I think Augustine did too. Back when Hermeticism and Christianity were kind of meeting for the first time, rather than do what Christianity normally does, which is just stamp it out and kill everybody who is of that other religion and declare them demonic and of the devil. They actually kind of embraced Hermeticism, and they sort of made it seem like Hermes Trismegistus, not the Greek god Hermes, but Hermes was the harbinger of Christ. They basically was like before Christ, before Moses, before Abraham, there was Hermes Trismegistus. And he set down the philosophical tradition for the others to come and follow. So they didn't denounce the, how do I want to word this? Because they did denounce the Neoplatonics, but they didn't denounce Hermeticism, and they can almost sort of be like the same thing. They're not, but they're extremely similar. So it's interesting. But anyway, so I think that they get things like the essence and the energy distinction right. I think that they get the Trinity right. I think that they get I think some of their eschatological points are somewhat valid. I think that they have I think that their views on liturgical worship, right, versus whatever it is that people do now, sing songs and fall out on the ground and get beat up with get hit with the Bible to get the devil out of you. I don't know about all that. So I think their view on liturgical worship is extremely valid. But I'm no expert on Orthodox or on Orthodoxy, so. It was an initiation into a lodge. However, our charter basically fell apart due to reasons. Interesting. So was this like Freemasonry? Because if so, I wouldn't be the best person to ask since I'm not a Freemason. What type of lodge was it? Was it like the Gentlemen of Jupiter or something like that, where it seems to be Freemasonry, but it really is magic? Or is it actually Freemasonry? Because if it is Freemasonry, I would not be the best person to ask. But I'm sorry that it fell apart. That sucks. I'm going to say I know God because I know myself. Interesting. That's cool. We wouldn't agree in Hermeticism, but that's okay. That's fine. If anyone understands most religious beliefs, this is one of them, learning real literature. What do you mean learning real literature? Like reading the original texts that religion comes from? Because I certainly do agree with that. I guess I'd really just like to know much difference should initiation make on a personal level. Well, to be honest, it should make you feel like a new person, right? You should you should be viewing the world through different lenses, right? Through different eyes. Have you ever tripped? Have you ever tripped on like shrooms or acid or anything like that before, and like how the colors are like brighter and more vibrant? It should be like that, right? Like you've seen green before, but when you're tripping, it's green. It's like, whoa, I've never seen green like this before. That's how it should be when you come out of an initiation. It should be like the first time you're seeing something. You should have a new outlook on the way the world operates. So that's probably the best way that I can explain it. I think that makes God makes way more sense. Me too. They can't put them together with the last comment. They're fragmented because I can't put it all into one comment. Oh, okay. Don't you think calling other little gods is taken away from who we really are? No. How so? Why would calling the planets little gods, like little g gods, not big G god? Why would calling Saturn a little g god take away from who we really are? Or calling Venus a little g god, not big G god, take away from what we really are? I read the group is supposed to find you. Do you mean the coven and stuff like that? I mean, they can find you, yeah, sure, but I mean, you can also go out looking. Can you just be on your own? Solitary? Yeah, sure. There's nothing wrong with solitary practice. I believe looking at everything around you for a wider perspective. Oh, you're talking to Liz. Okay. I think as a Christian, it's better for me to understand other beliefs to be grounded in my faith. I agree. And it's good that you are here to learn and not just to condemn and not just to, you guys are going to hell, even if you think that we are going to hell, that's fine. You're not pushing it, on us and things like that. You're not trying to convert anybody in the chat. So, that's good, child of God. That's good. Yes, the 3-in-1. So rare I encounter someone talking about this. Well, it's rare that I come on to TikTok and actually find legitimate occultists. So I know your pain. I notice some people will talk saying, I notice some people will talk saying God said this, God said that, when it's really them. Yes, that is correct. Yes, people will tell you that God is talking to them and all this other bullcrap when really it's just ego. It's really just ego. I enjoy listening to people that actually understand little bits of everything is closer to God. I mean, it depends. I'm not really a perennialist. I don't think that everything leads to God or that everything goes back to God. I don't think that there's any way that Scientology leads back to God. I don't think that there's any way that the Children of God cult leads back to God. I don't think, David Koresh and his people, the Branch Davidians and all that they had a way back to, there are some things that I don't think lead anywhere good spiritually. So I have a hard time, when people say things like all religions or all beliefs or all faiths. Some, sure, but when people use blanket like all, I think what they really mean is the 5 majors, right? Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I think they mean the majors. But we also have to remember that there's hundreds of millions of people out there that follow religions that don't fit into the majors. I think there's a lot of them that would not lead back to God at all. So. Demigods. I don't know about demigods. Demigods are like children of gods or humans that became gods. Not like spirits that are lesser than gods. I just like the mysticism behind orthodoxy. Yes, there is a lot of mysticism in Orthodox Christianity. A lot. Okay, well, yeah, I guess it worked then because shit got very weird, especially with omens and symbols. Well, very good. Then there you have it. Are you able to tell us what it was like? What tradition or system or lodge or well, you don't got to say the lodge, but like what system or tradition or practice it's for? Benji Comics, because that's awesome. That's awesome. I think I might need to change my name. Too many sound-alikes. I notice my magic is strongest with first-time operations, but not so much if I repeat the work. Why? There could be a lot of things that could be affecting that. We'd have to talk about the specific ritual and the specific things that you did and any follow-ups to sort of... That's why it's always good to write it down. That's why ever since like the 70s, a lot of occult books have been telling you to keep your own journals and stuff like that. So that way, when things like this come up, you can look back over your own work and you're not just guessing. You actually have data to go back over and go, okay, I did this and then I did this and then I did that. But last week when I did this other ritual, I didn't do those other two things. I only did this. And when you just tell me you did a ritual, one worked without doing anything extra, the other, we just be guessing. So we'd have to get specific, like the specific things that you did, how you followed it up. And so that's why it's always good to keep like a magical diary or journal or something like that. Is all relative to the hearer? Are you asking a question or is that a statement? Have you ever encountered evil spirits and what happened with that, if so? So how do you mean that? Do you mean, am I just walking down the street and a demon pops out? No, I'm not schizophrenic. But have I contacted evil spirits and worked with them? Yes. Nothing happened other than the things that I wanted to happen because I don't engage with spirits outside of ritual. So everything is in a controlled environment. Now, there are times when spirits do get unruly and out of hand, and then, you would just, go through the spirit chain, you'd go through the evocation of the fire, the conjuration of the fire, the curse, the constraints, and all of those things. But nothing like what you're probably thinking, like out of a movie or out of a TV show has happened. It doesn't really work like that. I heard from another occultist that angels are agents of God. Do you share that same perspective? Yes. Angels come from a specific region of the world. They are the only region of the world that has angels. There are angel-like beings in every region of the world, of course. But angels, specifically angels, and how they operate, what they do, what their jobs are, and how they interact with humanity is specific to the Mediterranean and the Semitic areas of the world. So yes, angels are specific to that region and they are specific to those religions and God. While, there are angel-like beings in, Aztec religion, they don't operate the same as the angels in Judeo-Christianity or Abrahamism or in I forgot the word. It starts with an H. The Hellenic religions and things like that, they all operate the exact same way. Whereas the, angel-like beings from some South African group or from some Chinese group, while they might be messengers, they don't have the same jobs. They don't have the same lore. They don't interact the same with humans as the ones from Abrahamism. So yes, if we are talking about angels like Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, stuff like that, yes, they would be agents of God. Yes. Just like I don't think that the devas from Hinduism would be able to operate outside of that framework, right? They belong to that region of the world. While there might be spirits from Appalachian mountain witchcraft that are similar to the devas, they would not be devas and would not operate like devas. They don't act like devas. They don't have the same jobs and things like that as devas. I think it's the same when people talk about practices being similar. Are you referring to when I was talking about perennialism? What do you mean there, Isa Ide? See how he broke it down? Freemasonry. Nice. Awesome. Yeah. I'm not a Freemason. So that question might be better asked to Brother Hummingbird, if he's in here, I don't know if he's in here right now. He's usually in my streams, but I don't see him in here. Or like Alchemic Mason, Ex Ludo Lucum. These are some Freemasons who come into my streams, but I am not a Freemason, so I can't really tell you what a Freemason initiation would be like, or should make you feel like, or how, the after effects should be. I can only speak for the occult. It's always good to debunk what doesn't work and show what does. Amen. Can angels disguise themselves as a human in your beliefs? They can, sure. I don't think that they do, but they certainly can. Yeah. What made you get into the occult? I stumbled upon it when I was 13, when I was at the mall, at the bookstore, and I just came across it while I was just browsing and started studying. I found a coven a year later, and I have not looked back. Statement of the true hearers. What do you mean by that, Dragon Spider Wolf? What do you mean by statement of the true hearers? I have them everywhere. I have them everywhere around me. That's one part of Christianity I keep around me, angelic symbolism. Very nice. Interesting. Interesting. You asked a question earlier. So would you be able to elaborate, like who are the true hearers, and like why are you saying their statements? Are you trying to preach to us or something? What's happening? What is your view on the afterlife? Well, in Hermeticism, there's three options. You either find your way back to God, you wander the spheres, or you come back through reincarnation. So after you pass away, hopefully during life you learned how to ascend through the spheres and you can find your way back to God. Once you die, if you know how to ascend through the spheres, you would ascend through the spheres and find your way back to God. And then that's it. You're done. You're back with God. Good for you. You're, next. Or if you don't know your way back to God, you will attempt to find your way, which is, the natural thing to do. You're lost, so you got to find your way back. But you'll probably just end up wandering, one of the spheres, and, whatever. Or you'll find your way back to something, but it won't be God. It'll be here. You'll find your way back to reincarnation. And you'll come back and you'll have to try again. You'll get a second chance to try to figure it out. And hopefully you figure it out that time. But if not, then you'll either again wander or come back. Statement, no, you got a lot. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you for being here. Hi, guys. What we doing? We are talking about occultism. I believe all three as well, recycling a circle. That's cool. What are these spheres you talk of? All right. 1 second. That's not a good image. I need a better image. Here we go. Oh, you guys can't see it? All right. Share screen. There we go. So these are the spheres. This is Earth here in the center. And then these are the 7 spheres. Got the moon, Mercury, Venus, the sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And then this is the zodiac. These are these are the fixed stars, and then the zodiacal spirits, and then the Neoplatonists would say God exists out here. We say there's 3 more layers. There's 8th, 9th, and 10th to get through. So there's 3 more spheres out here that are missing. But essentially, minus the 8th, 9th, and 10th. This is an accurate representation of what the spheres would be. So minus the 8th, 9th, and 10th, God would be out here, out in the the Ein Sof if you're coming from a Kabbalistic perspective. He's out in the great nothingness. And from out here, God would have created the world and everything in it, all these spheres. But for us, for humans, when we come from the mind of God, we leave the mind of God, and we pass through the 8th, 9th, and 10th, which is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Then we come down through the zodiac. This is where we get a personality. And then we come down through the spheres here. We pass down through each of these spheres. And as we pass down through each of these spheres, we take on aspects of each of these planets, which is why we are subject to fate. These spheres spin in what are known as aeons. They spin in their aeons and they control destiny. So because we are under the influence of these planets, because we came down through them when we came to Earth through, from the mind of God, our souls, we are subject to fate. So now, of course, there is a way out of that. While you're alive, you don't have to die. There is a way out of being under fate. But minus all that, when you pass, you now have to figure out how to get back through these spheres, right? How to go through the moon, Mercury, Venus, and get back through the fixed stars, get back through the zodiac, get back through the 8th, 9th, and 10th, and find your way back to God. You need knowledge and gnosis to know how to do that. So if you don't find your way back to God, you'll end up in one of these spheres out here just wandering. It's not bad. It's not like you're going to it's not hell or anything. It's not bad, but you're not with God. So you're just a wandering spirit. These are the ghosts. These are the genius Loki. These are, the spirits that we can contact. They are wandering. At least the human ones. So this is a good representation of what the spheres, would be. What was that? Hold on 1 second. Somebody sent me something. All right, whatever. We'll deal with that later. So yeah, this is a good representation of each sphere. The Sephirotic spheres, no. These are Hermetic spheres. Is reincarnation eternal, or is there like a limit of times that you can come back? Nope, there is no limit. You can come back as often as you want to, I guess. I don't know why you would want to. Most people come back as a mistake. But not sure why you'd want to come back, but yes. That's in some Hinduism beliefs and Buddhist beliefs. Yes, yep. Reincarnation is popular in the East. What happens in each sphere? Nothing specific. When you die, you mean? Nothing specific. It's nothing bad. It's just you will be stuck in whichever sphere you're in, so you'll be hanging out with those spirits of that sphere. So if you hang out in, the sphere of the sun, you'll be hanging out with the solar spirits, so the spirits that can grant, nobility and wealth and fame and fortune and expansion and things like that. You'll just be just in that realm. Nothing will happen to you. But Sufism. I'm not familiar with Sufism. To travel to God. Hello. Hey, Corporate Hermeticist, what's up? So would the spheres be specific to each solar system? What do you mean? We exist in our these aren't separate solar systems. This all exists in our solar system. Are you talking about are there aliens who also believe in this stuff? I don't know about that. I can only speak about what happens here in our solar system. I don't know about any other solar system. I wonder if they're tricked into coming back. Maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of anything like that. Maybe. But I can't say for sure on that. What if the Earth is destroyed? Where will they go then? No idea. No idea. Religion doesn't really take into effect what happens or where do spirits go if the world gets destroyed. I don't know of any religion that talks about that. Except for Christianity, when God destroys the world and then he creates a new heaven and a new earth. But outside of that, I don't know of any. The French occultist Gerard Uncos brought his treatise of practical magic. I have never heard of him. I'm not familiar with him. But I hope you do enjoy it and let us know how it is. I've never heard of him. Gerard Uncos. His treatise on practical magic. Actually, let me look that up. Gerard Uncos' treatise of practical magic. Is this it? By Pappas? Is this it? The Elemental Treatise on Practical Magic? So if it's by Pappas, see, I didn't know that this was his real name. Because I know Pappas, but I didn't know this was his real name. If it's by Pappas, I don't have a problem with it because I am a huge fan of his Bohemian tarot or Tarot of the Bohemians. But yeah, nothing. This all seems pretty valid. Reading through this, but his Tarot of the Bohemians is fantastic. So yeah, I don't see a problem with. You look like you a professor somewhere. You look like you just teach ancient history or something. You look like you just discovered an artifact yesterday. A lot of books. Okay. It seems like people are liking it. Not this guy. This book is incomplete. All the good parts were pulled and what's left is just filler. Obviously, people reviewing have no idea what they're talking about. Well, this guy says it's incomplete. But everyone else seems to be okay with it. We even have one in Spanish? Or is this... What is this? Is this Portuguese? Because some of these words is French, but some of these words are Spanish. And the only French Spanish I know is Portuguese. Is this Portuguese? Esto fue mi primero libro de magia. Aborda tudo fiz questão de ter o exemplar na versão. Yes, that this must be Portuguese. Inglés. Recomendo difícil, because that's French. Jorge dia de arcar. What is that? Portuguese. I was right, Portuguese. Yeah, it looks like everybody else thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, I don't see any problems with it. Moses battled the Egyptian occultists. Was their magic stronger back then since they materialized snakes? I mean, I don't know if it was stronger back then. As long as we can read whatever they were reading and we should have access to whatever they have access to, we should be able to do the same things. So I don't know if it was stronger back then. I just think we don't have access to whatever they were reading and whatever they were using to accomplish such things. I think those things are lost to time. But yeah, they definitely did have a wizard fight. Wizard fight! Witch wars. Just looking at it from a zoomed out perspective, this seems tailored to our solar system. Yes, that is correct. There are many more though. Yeah, religion doesn't take, I don't know of any religion that even taught, like, I don't know why Hermeticism would be different than any other, I don't know of any other religion that speaks of outside of our solar system. The happenings and the going-ons and what happens to their souls. And we only focus on ours. So yeah, I don't even know a Christian or a Buddhist or a Shinto or a Taoist or a Hindu that would be able to answer that question from their perspective, since I don't know of any, that speaks about our, like, anything external to ourself. I would assume the magic aliens would be similar, but can't say for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they're aliens and they're far more intelligent and far more advanced than we are, I would hope it's not the same. you're far more intelligent than we are, yet you're doing the same things that we're doing. I don't know. I'll check out the tarot too. Yeah, the tarot of the Bohemians is really good. It's not a it's a book though. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. What if the earth is destroyed? Where do they go? I don't know. There's no religion talks about that. I don't even think Christianity talks about that. So if nuclear war broke out right now, what does the Bible what does the Bible say would happen to earth? There's no religion covers that kind of a thing. So Hermeticism wouldn't be any different. I don't know why you guys are expecting it to be different. No religion talks about whoa, what if there's no earth? Or, well, what about in the Andromeda solar system? What happens to those guys when they die? I don't know of any religion that discusses those types of things. It's Portuguese. Yeah, Portuguese. Ai, sushi pego. It's hard to find their original literature. Whose original literature? The Portuguese? I don't think so. But whose original literature are you speaking about? Has your practice proved your beliefs? Yes, it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a witch war. If we could have witch wars again, back during Moses' time, not like Crowley versus Mathers, but I'm talking real Moses versus Egyptian priests. That would be some fly shit. Or the disciples versus Simon the Magus. That would be some fly shit. Were you ever Christian at some point and departed the faith, or did you just dive straight into the cult? Yes, I was Christian. I was raised Baptist Christian. I was pretty devout, too. Lunchy lunch, much love. Oh, it's your lunchtime? Well, enjoy. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy it. Such a shame when Nada gets lost to time. Yeah, that's why we owe a lot of credit should be given to the Muslims, to the Arabs. If it wasn't for them, almost everything we have currently on Hermeticism would be gone. We wouldn't have it. It would be gone. Is it just me or is it lagging? Okay, so it is lagging. It's lagging hard. All right. Give me 1 second. Give me uno second. All right. How's the last few seconds been? Has it been lagging for the last 15, 20 seconds? All right, Child of God says it's good. Anybody else? Can I get 2 more? It's all right now? Okay. All right, cool. All right, good. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was. It kept popping up saying couldn't connect. But I'm plugged directly in. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But anyway, all right, cool. It's back. Nice. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, for the Bohemian Tarot one, it's this right here. Papist Tarot of the Bohemians. This is probably one of the greatest books on tarot that I have ever read. I think this is a fantastic text when it comes to tarot. Now, it is from the Kabbalistic perspective, so keep that in mind. But aside from that, can you repeat your answer to my last comment? Let me see. Such a shame when knowledge gets lost in time. Yeah, the only thing I said was that we owe a lot of credit to the Muslims. because they preserved a lot of the Hermetic writings. If it wasn't for them keeping the writings safe and translating them, they would have been destroyed by the Christians. So, luckily, the Muslims did not allow some of the Hermetic writings to get, because there's a lot that we have not found. So there's a lot that is left unsaid. But there's also a lot that we do have. Thank you to the Arabs. If it wasn't for them. Is there a concept of predestination in Hermeticism? Yeah. If you don't figure out how to rise above the first 7 spheres, you are subject to fate. So yes, there is a notion of predestination. Well, maybe not predestination. Maybe more. Is it determinism? Maybe it's not predestination. Although I guess in a way it could be considered predestination. There's going to be nuance there. Yes and no, I guess, is probably the best. Yes and no. I guess it depends on how you look at it. If you are subject to fate, if you have not figured out how to rise above the first 7 and you are subject to fate, while your destination, like the exact point where you're going to end up might not be known, the general, how do I want to say this? The general course or path might be known. But the specific, like, you're going to end up in this specific spot with this specific, health issues and this specific, I don't know about that. But I do think there is a level of, if you do not rise above the first 7, that there are categories that you could end up in. Yeah. Okay, I never knew that. The Muslims that they kept, yeah. Yes. They were very gracious. Kabbalah is so complex. Where to begin studying it? I can't even process the Talmud. I don't practice Kabbalah, so I'm probably not the best person to give advice on that. I mean, I do own a couple of Kabbalistic texts. I have, Dion Fortune's Mystical Kabbalah and things like that here. And then I've got a few. Where is it? Oh, Between the Gates, which is about lucid dreaming, scrying, and astral projection in Kabbalah and Western esotericism. And then this one is on the Qliphoth, which is the opposite of Kabbalah, the dark side of Kabbalah. This is Sacerdotum Umbrae Mortis. And then I think I've got a few ebooks on Kabbalah, or a PDF text. Do I have a Kabbalah? Yeah, I've got a few things on Kabbalah, but I don't really practice, so I'm probably not the best person to give advice on where to get started with Kabbalah. But it's very interesting, though. It is a very interesting system. I don't know. There's so much work within Hermeticism. Adding in an entirely new system would be unaliving, if you know what I mean. So, do you think that a belief can be evil? Do I think that a belief can be evil? Yeah, I think so. Children of God, the cult that Rose McGowan, who started the Me Too movement, or spearheaded, she didn't start it, but she spearheaded the Me Too movement, and Joaquin Phoenix, the guy who did the Joker movie with Todd Phillips, they came from the Children of God cult. And they, among things like flirty fishing and all that, they teach adult children relationships, like inappropriate, not just, adults and children hanging out, but like, I think you know what I mean. The illegalness of adults and children. They actively promote that. And they believe that that is a valid belief. So yeah, I cannot fathom a scenario where adults and children getting together intimately, is not evil or not, or good in any way. So yeah, I do think that, beliefs can be evil. Yeah. Do you have any more suggestions on herbal magics? Well, right now, the de facto book on herbal magic right now is Daniel Skulke's re-release of The Green Mysteries. He re-released this. This is what the occult world is like raving about right now. The Green Mysteries by Daniel Skulke. This is this is old. This is an old book, but it got re-released. So everyone's like, and he added to it and things like that, updated it and things. So, this is, what is right now considered the top of the top, occult text when it comes to herbs. But then there's also his Veneficium. He wrote that. I think he also wrote this one here. Did he write this? Is this him? Yes, it is. Okay. So he writes a lot on herbalism when it comes to the occult, because he wrote The Green Mysteries, and then he wrote Veneficium, which is poison magic, using herbs and stuff for the poison, and then there's this. I don't know if I have much on herbs or herbalism. I do have the Veneficium here. I do have Veneficium. Yeah, I don't have much when it comes to herbs. I think maybe 3. I think this has some herbal concoctions in it. This one obviously definitely has herbal stuff in it, and then this. Other than that, the rest of this might mention herbs and the use of herbs, but it's not about herbs and maybe except this one, but that's not what you're looking for. So, yeah, I don't really have much for herbal work. Thoughts on DJ Conway? Never got to read her fantasy books much less her occult one, so I'm curious. The only thing by Conway I'm familiar with is her book Celtic Magic. That was one of the first books before I found the Coven. That was book number 2 or 3 I bought when I was 13. The first was the first one that I read was the Silver Ravenwolf one, but the first book that I bought was the Necronomicon, I think. And then I think DJ Conway's Celtic Magic was the second or third book that I purchased before finding the Coven. So I'm only familiar with her through that, and that was okay. It wasn't groundbreaking. I didn't it wasn't anything like whole. I mean, of course, when you're 13, it was, because I didn't know any of that stuff. But thinking back on it wasn't anything that I couldn't have learned by just Googling, about Celtic magic, and so it was good, but it wasn't like holy crap, like this is the definitive text on Celtic magic and Druidism. It wasn't like that. That title belongs to John Michael Greer's The Dolmen Arch. If anybody can get me a copy of that, I would love to get my hands on The Dolmen Arch. I got lucky enough to thumb through it one time when I came across it at an occult bookstore when I was on vacation a year or so ago, but they wanted like $400 for it. And I'm like, no, thank you. Actually, let's take a look at something. Let me take a look at something here. Oh, wow, they redid the site. That's cool. I didn't think it was going to be done that soon. And oh, wow, they got the publishers up top. That's cool. Wow, 3 Hands has, wow. I need to get more from Theon. Centipede Press. What is that? Well, okay. First, hold on. I'm looking for something specific first. I think it's spelled like that. Dolmen Arch. I think that's how it's spelled. All right. Let me just search by. I think I spelled it wrong. John Michael Greer. There. I spelled it right. The Dolmen Arch. There it is, right there. I spelled it right. How much does he want for it? Yeah, $4.50. I'm not spending that. Somebody find me a PDF of this. I'm not spending I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I'm not. I mean, I know it's all beautiful and ooh, the binding and ooh, yeah, but $4.50 crazy. $4.50 is crazy. But yeah. I have it. You have the Dolmen Arch? Do you want to get rid of it for like $100? Do you want to get rid of it for like $100? Can I give you a smooth bean and we call it even? A bean is 100. Just so you're, I don't want to give you an actual bean. I don't want you to think I'm just going to give you like a little pea and we call it a day. A bean is slang for it's AAVE for 100. Can you help spirits through the spheres as a human? So, okay. Let me make sure I understand what you mean. So, do you mean can you help spirits like cross over, like find their way back to God or something like that? Is that what you mean? Because you can help spirits that are like trapped here in the earthen sphere, but you would not be able to help spirits find their way back to God. That would be your own journey to go through. So how do you mean that? Do you ever plan on opening that profuse drive of yours to public consultation? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. There's a, like, I recently found out that I have like hundreds of books on alchemy that I didn't even know I had. I didn't even know I had them. Like, when I came in here one time because I don't practice alchemy, so I typed in alchemy and then it brings up these 3 folders here. These are the books that I have that are on alchemy, right? But then it brings up these, where'd it go? Where'd the folder at? Okay, it moved them. So this is what I have on alchemy, right? But then it brings up these 3 folders. Some of these don't have anything. Right? And I didn't know, like, look, this is mine over here. All this was shared with me by someone that I don't know 10 years ago, back in 2013. I don't know. So, even if I wanted to share this with you guys, I don't know, right? And that's just that one folder, right? But when I type in alchemy and then I click in the second folder, there's all these recordings of lectures. And then when I type it in again and I click on the third folder, there's all these. And it just keeps going. And this is a recent look. It just keeps going. And this is a recent discovery. I recently, when in the Discord a while back, Alchemic Mason had asked if I had any books on alchemy that I could share. And I was like, I don't know. I think I got like 3 or 4. And then so I was like, you know what? Let me just look. And I typed it in and I was like, holy crap. I think there's like 400 and something total files in here on just alchemy. This is so expensive. Oh my God. Yeah. It's expensive. Wow. $450. Yeah. For the Dolmen Arc. Yeah. I don't know. Lagging again, or is it just me? It didn't pop up for me. Is anyone else lagging? Or yes. Yes, child of God, it's lagging for you. What do you think about the board people use? What do you mean? Like a forum? Like A message board, you mean? Like, what do you mean a board? Or like the Ouija board? What do you mean board? What do you mean by that? I mean, is there a way to know how to get through the spheres before you die? Yes. That's what the corpus teaches you. That's what Rufus Opus in his 7 spheres teaches you. What are the best on alchemy? I have no idea. I don't practice alchemy. No idea. Damn, bro, we need to find that plug. Well, I mean, it says Yo-Yo Mama or something like that, right? Like, look, when I type in alchemy, it says Yo-Yo Mama under, look, 7/31/13, the date. Who's Yo-Yo Mama? And he sent me, like, who is that? I don't know who look, hold on. Yo-Yo Mama. Who's Yo-Yo Mama? Sharing all this stuff with me. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know. I hate that I like the back, like there's no back in Google Drive. That's like ridiculous. But yeah, he shared, I don't know who he is. That's a lot of probably valuable documents. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not lagging for me, it's fine for me. Okay. Yeah, Quinn board. I don't know what that is. What's a Quinn board? I'm sorry, life. I don't know what a Quinn board is. Yo-Yo Mama's a real one for that. Yeah, I don't know who this person is. I don't know who this person is. But in 10 years, they haven't turned off the sharing. They haven't stopped sharing. So I don't know. I just go through here and sometimes I find stuff that I've never seen. I'm like, what the heck? That's also what the Golden Dawn teaches, just through a Kabbalistic lens. The spheres? You mean? Or what? Spelled too wrong. I'm not sure I understand. You spelled too wrong? Maybe it's Brother Hummingbird. Is voodoo a closed practice for African Americans, or can Africans practice it too? Voodoo comes from Africa. It's wholly African. So it's, yeah, of course Africans can join. It's not African American at all. Hoodoo is African American, but voodoo or voodoo is African. Excuse me. So yes, Africans can certainly join voodoo. That's where it comes from. Just spelled it wrong. Okay, spelled what? I mean, that does. I mean, still doesn't help what you're talking about, though. Spelled what wrong? Can you give the? Are you able to give the correct spelling, or do you not want an answer for whatever you were asking? Yes, the spheres, just the tree of life spheres, not planetary. Oh, okay. Do you think Ouija boards are real? So that depends on what you mean by real. I don't think the Ouija board is able to get in contact with like angels or demons or planetary spirits or anything like that. At least not by itself. Not just by you buying it from the store, bringing it home, waiting till midnight, opening it, and then just going, "Hello, is there anybody here with us?" Right? Donald Michael Craig talked about this back way before he died. He talked about this a while ago. Like in the early 2000s, he did an interview and he was talking about how the spirits, if you can even call them that the Ouija board can get into contact with, are very low level, very weak, they're not even spirits. They are intelligent amalgamations of energy, right? When you don't cleanse or banish, which normal people don't do. So their houses, their homes, their, businesses are just built up with all this energy that has nowhere to go. It can sometimes like come together and sort of take on a life of its own. and it can be interacted with, right? But only on a very basic level, right? So, hi, bye, yes, no, things like that. When you start asking real questions, things that have like answers that can be proven like right now, they tend to start falling apart, right? Like, is there anybody here with us? It says yes. Okay. Did you die in the 1800s? Yes. Okay. Now you can start. Well, did you die around here in this town in the 1800s? Yes. Okay. Well, who was the mayor of this town in the 1800s? Something that you can go and prove, right? Who was the mayor? Oh, they got no answer for that, right? So the beings, the spirits that are contacted via an Ouija board are not spirits. They are amalgamations of energy that are semi-intelligent and can be interacted with on a basic level. But that's it, right? More a parlor trick than legitimate spirit contact. Now, in the hands of a legitimate practitioner, the Ouija board might be able to reach out the board can't, but you might be able to use the board to communicate with a spirit that you evoked or whatever. But I would ask, why would you want to do that, right? When there are more reliable, more effective, more accurate methods of spirit contact, why would you want to waste your time with a Ouija board spelling out every word, letter by letter, when you can achieve two-way communication through your scrying device or something like that? So that's my take on Ouija boards. I've literally never heard of voodoo growing up in Africa. People just say witchcraft. Well, yeah, they might not call it voodoo. That's probably like an American term. But yeah, Voudon, Voudon. Yeah, that comes right out of Africa. Is the Nous divine mind God in Hermeticism the Abrahamic God, but a different aspect? No. The Abrahamic God is a stolen Canaanite deity, a war deity that they made into a. Hey, thank you for the gifts, Amun. Thank you for the chili. But no, it's not the same. It's not the same deity. The Abrahamic deity is a former Canaanite war deity. Some even say a storm deity, but he was a former deity that was from the Canaanites that was stolen and ripped away from his own mythology, where he was married, he had a wife, and all this other stuff, and he was brought over to the Hebrews when they took over and assimilated into them, and So no, not the same deity. Thank you for following, Rina. This is what I was trying to ask. How do you cleanse? With a cleansing ritual, like the Adoration of Metatron, Star Rui, the LBRP, the GBRP, or the GRBP. You can use head washes. You can use cleansing baths. I prefer the rituals, but there's plenty of ways to cleanse. What's up, Rina? I hope that's how you say your name. Like Dua Lipa's sister, Rina? Rina Lipa? Is Western occultism mostly Abrahamic and or Platonic? No. Western ceremonial magic is, but Western occultism is not. No. But Western ceremonial magic is. A lot of people get those two terms confused. Western occultism would encompass everything that's not India or further east. So African, South American, European, Native American, so yeah, no. Western occultism isn't just Abrahamic or Platonic, but Western ceremonial magic is. No, just like Rina. Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Rina. Apologies. Are you at work? No. I never saw this background before. No, I'm home. I'm on TikTok for desktop. I got approved for their legitimate streaming service, so I don't got to do it from my phone. I could do it like we're on Twitch or we're on YouTube, where I can show my screen, and I don't got to go, look guys, and then I got to take my phone off of the tripod and then hold it up to my screen so you guys could see, look guys, here's the books, or here's the right. I can just show my screen. So rather than me having to sit this way and you see my wall right here with my banners on them, I'm sitting at my computer because I'm on the PC, because I got approved for TikTok for desktop. So we're not on my phone. We're on TikTok for desktop. I think it's still in beta. Not a lot of people use TikTok for desktop yet, because they never let you before. If you were going to stream on TikTok, you had to apply to get your stream key, and then they would give it to you, but then you'd have to take that to OBS or Streamlabs, and then through them you could stream. But this is the first time that we can stream directly through TikTok with their own software from PC. I got approved for that 2 weeks ago. And I didn't even ask for it. They just was like, hey, do you want to try our new TikTok for desktop? You got to apply, but do you want to try it? And I was like, why would you ask if I got to apply? But yeah, sure, I guess. And hold on. My friend sent me something. All right, sorry. I had to respond to my friend. Where can I get more info on cleaning? You mean cleansing and protection spells? Sorry for so many questions. Yeah, you just Amazon books on protection magic. Where is it? Jason Miller wrote a good book, Protection and Reversal Magic, by Jason Miller. What does that say? A witch's defense manual. So protection and reversal magic is pretty good. Silver spells for protection is pretty good, even though I don't really care for Silver Ravenwolf. She's pretty good when it comes to like protection. I don't really have that many on cleansing. Like, there's not many on cleansing and banishing specifically. Those topics are usually part of larger spell books. Yeah, I mean, all of these have protection and cleansing in them, but none of them are specifically about it. Well, this one has a whole chapter. The Book of Abraxas has a whole chapter dedicated to protection and securing sacred space. You can see the table of contents. Protection and securing sacred space. They have entire chapters in the Book of Abraxas. But other than protection and reversal magic and silver spells, I'm not familiar with any complete sources on just cleansing and protecting and or banishing. Not that. Oh, hold on. Let me go check my other shelf. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, I've got plenty of books that mention them, but that are specifically on banishing, cleansing, stuff like that. The protection and reversal magic, silver spells for protection, Combat magic, I think, is pretty good. That's all I can think of that is specifically on that topic. Everything else is books on other things, but they have protection, banishing rituals in them. So, did the Arabs before Islam practice what you practice? Probably not, no. This comes from Egypt and Greece. The Arabs just preserved it. They weren't evil like the Christians. Thoughts on Rastafari? Big man. Respect. I don't have any problem with the Rastas. I obviously don't, believe the way that they believe, but I don't have a problem with them, They give us the sacred herb, right? God's green plant. The holy of holies, some would say. No, I'm kidding. No one would call weed the holy of holies, but you know what I mean. But you know what I'm trying to say. I don't have any issues with the Rastafaris. Now the Hoteps and the Black Israelites, I don't like those guys. Only because I like white women. I like Spanish women. I like Asian women. Man, I like women. And they'll stand at the boardwalk of every beach on the East Coast and they'll yell at all the interracial couples. They yell at them all the time. They stand there with their megaphones wearing their black robes, handing out their little pamphlets with a black man wearing a sarcophagus headdress or something like that, and they yell at all the people interracially dating. Why is this beautiful Colombian sister with this white devil? That's what they say. They stand there and they say nonsense like that. The white man, not the devil. What the hell? The white man, not the devil. They out here yelling at people. These people just try to get some cheeks. Maybe that white man wants some Colombian cheeks. What's wrong with that? Maybe he want to clap some Colombian culo. There's nothing wrong with that. But the Hoteps don't like it. They say the white man can only clap white culo. That's crazy. That's not right. So I'm not with the Hoteps. I'm not with the Black Israelites. Sorry, Kendrick Lamar. I'm not black no more. I'm Israelite. Not me. Not me. I'm black. And I like all women. Sorry, Hotep. Hotep Jesus. Sorry. But yeah, no, I don't got a problem with the Rastas. Respect, man. I like, damn, what's his name? Old ass man in Jamaica with there's a lot of old men in Jamaica. What's his, he did, live and direct from the Blue Ark. Live and direct from the Blue, oh, come on. What is his name? Oh man, I can't remember this man's name, but I like him. I like his, even though it doesn't make any sense. The lyrics in his music don't make no sense to me, but it's probably because I'm not on the high spiritualness of the Rastas. But I like his music, and he's a Rasta. But I don't like the Hoteps. What the fuck's that guy's name? Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. What do I even look up? Live and direct from the Blue Ark? Actually, live and direct from the Blue Ark. Let me see. Yes! Lee Scratch Perry! That's him. That's him. Why'd I do that? That's him. This guy. Yeah, old man in Jamaica. He's live and direct from the Blue Ark. Uh-oh, conspiracy theorists. Uh-oh. Illuminati. But what's with the orange hair, though? That's a little wild. But, Illuminati. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It wasn't me. Not me. But yeah, that's him. That's him. Do you consider Yahweh, Yaldabaoth, and Samael the same entity? No. Thoughts on... Oh, I already answered that. Have you read The God of Old by Kugel James? It's a great scholarly insight of the Bible. I've not. I've not even heard of that. I will check that out. God of Old by Kugel James. Kugel. Q-Gel. Jaime. Just kidding. Heck yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's the only thing holding me together. What is the only thing holding you together? Black hoteps yelling at you on the boardwalk? That's the only thing keeping you together? You like getting yelled at on the boardwalk? I'm just trying to go get some funnel cake. I'm not trying to get yelled at. Not the super interracial dating stance. LMAO, man really said I love white women. I love them. If it ain't snowing, I ain't going. No, I'm kidding. No, thank you. Snoop? No, not Snoop Dogg. Not Snoop Dogg. Is Snoop well? Like, was that real? Like, is he really Rasta? Like, I know a few years ago, he had that Netflix documentary where he was Snoop Lion for like 5 minutes, and he was Rasta for 30 seconds and all that. But like, I think he like said nah, blah blah blah. But I don't know. X-Files theme plays exactly. What's the alien John from like Rugrats and hold on. What's the alien John? Alien sound from Rugrats.
Greetings, Grog and Lindor. Inform me of your progress.
Welcome, Babbler. I think we got it all worked out. I'm gonna trick the human babies into playing in a little plan.
Is there like other music?
Is to our whole planet for further study.
Hold on.
Aliens.
Greetings, Grog
Aliens.
and Lindor. Inform me of your progress.
Welcome.
No, it's I don't know what keyword to like try to find it. So never mind. Orange beard is crazy. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the orange beard. MJ, LOL. MJ holds me together. Oh, yes. Michael Jackson holds me together too. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know what you mean. You mean the Holy of Holies. Snoop is a Rasta now. For real? He was saying the truth. Really? All right, that's cool. Thoughts on Atlantis, Lemuria? I don't give any credence to any of that. Nope. That's all New Age. I don't give any credence to Atlantis, Lemuria, any of that. Nope. None of that. We can close out of this. Yeah, I don't. Nope. Billy Carson and Elizabeth April and all those people try to talk about that, try to connect it to spirituality, and it doesn't connect. Not at all. How do you recognize when something's new age? Sometimes they be so slick. Yeah, so I put everything up against the occult checklist or the occult I don't know, playbook, or I don't know the word I'm trying to say. The occult framework. I don't know. I put everything up against the occult, right? Anything that's not clearly Christian or clearly Buddhist or clearly, Muslim or something like that, I put up against the occult, right? So I listen to what people say, and I listen to the claims that they make. And if the claim sounds occult, but they don't talk about any occult doings in order to make that claim a reality, then I know that it's New Age. So like, say, for example, if somebody were to say, like, you know, they can, they can do soul retrievals, right? You find someone who claims that they can do a soul retrieval, right? Okay, so soul retrievals is a real practice within shamanism. So the only way to do a soul retrieval is to do a shamanic journey, because you have to go to the world tree to descend to the underworld in order to look for the fragment that's been broken off. So if you find someone who says that they can do a soul retrieval, and then you ask them how they do it, they go, oh, well, I connect to your energy, and I open my heart space, and I talk to your higher self. You know, like, they give themselves away because none of that stuff is done within the occult, right? So I put everything up against because I believe that when it comes to the New Age, the paranormal, and the occult conspiracy, all right, maybe not any question, but I'm confident that like 97% of all questions coming out of the New Age, the paranormal, and the occult conspiracy communities can be answered with the occult. I truly 100% believe that. The vast majority of questions coming out of the paranormal, the New Age, and the occult conspiracy communities can be answered with the occult. So when they claim things that have an occult origin, but they don't do anything occult, I instantly know that it's New Age, because I put everything up against the occult. If it doesn't hold up, just like a Christian would put everything up against the Bible, and so if it doesn't come up against the Bible, to them it's evil or whatever, but they have no basis for that, right? I have a basis for what I'm saying, because the things within the New Age, the paranormal, and the occult conspiracy originate in the occult. So thoughts on the Wiccan Web by Patricia Telesco. Is internet magic even a thing? I've never heard of the Wiccan Web. The Wiccan Web, but is internet magic a thing? What do you mean by that? Like, the Wiccan Web, surfing the magic on the internet. So, I've not read this, so I don't know how she means magic on the internet. I do think like meme magic and stuff like that is possible because of how sigils work, right? Sigils are supposed to activate in the subconscious, and then whatever activates, it's supposed to like reprogram your mind into doing things to make that thing a reality. So when you show it to other people, right, it's supposed to activate in their subconscious, which is supposed to reprogram to make whatever you want to happen. So buy my album, buy my book, go watch my movie, go watch my show, download my podcast, whatever, right? So in terms of that, yes, I think that someone could do like a sigil and upload it to the internet and, maybe make it their logo or something like that. So every time someone sees it, that's a person that could help activate whatever it is that they're trying to. So in that way, yes. But I don't know what way, what's her name? Patricia Telesco and Serona Knight. I don't know what other way. Oh, there's reviews. I don't know what other way they mean it. Let's see some of these 3 stars. What's up? Oh, they only started. They didn't write a review. Okay, never mind. Oh, wait. Oh, wow. So this must be old. I mean, I should have known just by looking at the computer. Like, ain't nobody computer look like this. This is like my first Windows or something like that. Like Windows 95. Like what is this? But yeah, it's talking about Yahoo Groups. Yeah, so maybe not. Maybe you don't want to get this. Maybe this is like, if this was 1994, maybe that would be a good thing. But yeah, maybe this is not the best book to get. Do you have like anthology or glossary for Western occultism magic? There are so many things. I mean, there's encyclopedias. Is it under by general? No. Is it under modern? All right. Yeah. Let me just type in encyclopedia. Let's just make it easier. So you've got like stuff like this, like the Encyclopedia of Occultism. This is A through L, and this is M through Z. So there's stuff like this, and this is 989 pages for this for M through Z, and A through L is 9. So this is like 2,000 pages of encyclopedic, And then there's this one here, but this is more specific to just witchcraft, not necessarily the entirety or a bigger net for occultism. There's this one here, Magic and Alchemy Encyclopedia. So, I mean, there's encyclopedias, but I don't know. And then, of course, there's the grimoire ones that just came in by David Rankine. The grimoire encyclopedias, Volume 1 for the Grimoire Encyclopedia, Volume 2 for the Grimoire Encyclopedia. So there's encyclopedias, but I don't know if there's like... Well, there are anthologies, but I don't think you mean it in the way that the word is used in the occult. An anthology would be something like this, like Sabbatica, where it's a book about one topic, but each chapter is written by a different author. So like this one is about necromancy. And each chapter is about necromancy, but it's by a different author and on a different thing within necromancy. So it's not just one cohesive book about fetish making, right? Chapter 1 might be about making a fetish, but then chapter 2 might be a curse on how to use the dead for cursing. And chapter 3 might be how to use the dead to heal. Then chapter 4 might be how to, buy graveyard dirt. And they're all by different authors. So there's anthologies, sure, but for something like what you're looking for, I think encyclopedias are probably what you're looking for. Have you seen sigil magic on album covers or commercials? I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, logos can be seen as sigils. Now, do I think that there's any like magical intent behind them? No, at least not for like commercials. I don't think that Walmart and Target has witches in the back, putting spells on their logos. But I've certainly have seen it within the mainstream. Yeah. I have to go, guys. Have an awesome day. Have a good one, Rena. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. I'll probably be following you shortly. Probably, I don't know. Depending on how things go, maybe like another half hour. Is there an ethical code in Hermeticism and magic in general? Like morals? Yeah, there's definitely morals within magic and Hermetics. Although I would say within magic, the morals probably depend on you because magic is broad, right? Magic is global. It's not specific to one area of the world like Hermeticism is. So, but yes, there's morals, of course. Let's see. I think on our next lecture, I'm going to find one of these to read through. One of the Journals of Western Mystery Tradition. This is from the Autumnal Equinox, 2001. Would love to read through some of these live. Are the Akashic records real? Yes, they are. But I don't think the number of people that are out here claiming that they have access to them and that they've seen theirs and all, I don't believe the vast majority of those people. So, but yes, it's real. Wait a second. There it is. Come on, catch up. Come on. Oh, bollocks. Oh, pish posh. They don't have the chapters. All right, I need to keep that up. But yeah. Do we got any more questions, guys? I'm going to talk to Alchemic. We should tackle this during our next Hermeticism live stream. Do we have any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Occultism, witchcraft, esotericism, magic, sorcery. We had a good about hour and a half, hour 45. We're going on almost 2 hours here, so I think this is probably a good spot to maybe end it. But if we got any further questions, Secret of Alchemy. Interesting. All right. Doesn't look like we got any other questions here. So I think we can go ahead and conclude. This was a fun hour and a half, almost 2 hours. We've got an hour and 51 minutes, it says here. Live stream. Thank you all for being here, asking some questions, spending some of your Sunday afternoon with me. Probably won't be live tonight. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not, though. But I will be live tomorrow evening after work. But yeah, thank you all for coming. enjoying the stream, asking your questions. It was a great stream, and I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, seek the mysteries. Peace.